Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and curious viewers! What if I told you that a single 2008 1-cent coin could be worth a staggering $130 million? Yes, you heard that right, $130 million. Stick around as we dive into the fascinating story of why this humble penny has become one of the most valuable coins in the world. And trust me, you won't want to miss this mind-blowing story. We all know the US penny, right? The 1-cent coin that's been in circulation for over 100 years. Today, it's the least valuable coin in America, worth exactly 1 cent. But what if I told you that in rare cases, these coins could be worth way more than face value? We're talking about some coins being worth thousands, millions, and in the case of the 2008 penny, an eye-popping $130 million. Yes, I'm talking about a 2008 1-cent coin. A year that, on the surface, seems like it wouldn't produce anything extraordinary, but this penny has a hidden story. A story that's worth more than most people could ever imagine. To understand why this particular penny is so valuable, let's first take a look at the history of the US 1-cent coin. The penny was first introduced in 1793, and over the years, it has undergone numerous changes in design, material, and value. The 2008 penny, however, was produced during a time when the US Mint was focused on several coin-related projects. And one of these projects led to a big mistake, one that would turn an ordinary penny into a rare treasure. Throughout the years, pennies have gone through a variety of designs, from the iconic Liberty Head to the famous Lincoln Memorial. The 2008 coin marked the end of the Lincoln Memorial series and the beginning of the shield design. However, it's not the design that makes this coin valuable. It's something that happened behind the scenes, something that happened by mistake. So, what happened with the 2008 1-cent coin? Well, in that year, the US Mint made a huge mistake during production. Some pennies were accidentally struck with a rare and unusual error, an error that turned them into something much more valuable than a simple penny. The error? A double die error. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is a double die error? Simply put, it happens when a coin is struck by a die that has a design that's been improperly aligned. As a result, the image on the coin appears twice, creating a distinct and very noticeable error. This is a highly sought-after flaw among coin collectors, and finding a double die error in a coin from 2008 is incredibly rare. To fully understand why the error is so valuable, let's take a brief look at how coins are made. At the US Mint, each coin is produced by striking metal blanks with engraved dies. These dies are the molds that imprint the design on each coin. But sometimes, an issue with the die itself can lead to errors in the final coin. The 2008 double die error occurred when the design on the die was misaligned during production. This small misalignment led to an imprint on the coin that was doubled, something that, in coin collecting, is a big deal. Imagine finding a penny with a design so out of place that it becomes a rare collector's item. And that's exactly what happened. So here's where things get wild. Only a handful of these 2008 double die error pennies have been found. And out of all of them, one specific penny was sold for a record-breaking price of $130 million. That's right, $130 million for a single penny. The reason for this astronomical price? The rarity, the condition, and the history behind this error make it one of the most valuable pennies in the world. Imagine finding this penny in your change, not realizing that it could be worth millions. People have actually found these rare pennies in their pocket change, but many didn't know what they had at the time. But don't worry, there are still some out there, and they continue to pop up in coin collections and auctions. Now you might be asking yourself, how can I spot one of these valuable 2008 pennies? Well, it's all about the details. The double die error creates a noticeable doubling effect in the inscriptions and design elements on the coin. To spot a double die error, you need to carefully examine the lettering, particularly around the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The doubling will be visible in these areas. Remember, not all 2008 pennies are worth millions. In fact, most are still just worth their face value, 1 cent. But if you're lucky enough to spot a double die error, you could have something incredibly rare on your hands. So, there you have it. A 2008 1-cent coin, once seen as just a penny, is now considered one of the most valuable coins in the world, worth up to $130 million. And who knows? The next time you check your pocket change, you might just have a hidden treasure sitting right in front of you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow coin enthusiasts. And remember, the next time you hold a penny in your hand, think twice. It could be worth way more than you think. Next. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins in US history, the 1-cent 2000 penny. Is it really worth a whopping $36 million? And why should collectors and investors alike be paying attention to it? Stick around, because this coin has a fascinating story that goes beyond its humble appearance. You won't want to miss this. First, let's set the stage. The 2000 penny, like every penny made by the US Mint, was struck with a face value of just 1 cent. It's made of copper-plated zinc, and features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, just like every other penny since 1909. Now, what makes the 2000 penny stand out from the rest is the subtle but crucial detail in the minting process, the D mint mark. This means it was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the key locations for producing US coins. Nothing too spectacular so far, right? It's just a regular penny from the year 2000, and in the context of coinage, a 2000 penny is pretty much a dime a dozen. So how did it get this reputation for being worth millions? Let's dig deeper. Here's where things get interesting. There's actually a rare and highly valuable variety of the 2000 penny, known as the wide AM penny. Now, you're probably wondering, what exactly makes this penny so special? Well, if you take a closer look at the reverse side of the coin, you'll notice something unusual about the letters A and M in America. On most 2000 pennies, these two letters are very close together, almost touching. But on the wide AM variety, there's a noticeable gap between the two letters. That's the key feature that sets the wide AM penny apart. The coin's design was supposed to have the AM letters touching, but due to a minting error, some 2000 pennies were struck with a wider gap between them, creating a distinct and valuable variation. This small error, however, would go on to create one of the most sought-after pennies in history, with a value that could make any coin collector's jaw drop. So, how much is a 2000 wide AM penny worth? Well, that's where things get even more intriguing. The value of a single wide AM penny can range dramatically depending on its condition, but it's not uncommon for these rare coins to fetch tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even more. The record price for one of these pennies was set at an astonishing $36 million. Yes, you heard that right, $36 million. But how could a humble penny ever be worth such an astronomical amount? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. The wide AM variety of the 2000 penny is so rare that only a small handful of them have been discovered, making it one of the most coveted coins by collectors and investors alike. And because so few of these coins exist, when one does pop up for sale, it's a big deal in the world of numismatics. These coins are so valuable because of the minting mistake, and they hold incredible historical significance. It's a perfect storm of rarity and importance. Now, if you're wondering how to find one of these rare coins, you're not alone. Many collectors and amateur coin hunters spend hours, even days, searching through rolls of pennies, hoping to find the elusive wide AM variety. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. If you think your chances of finding one are slim, well, you're right. But for those who have the patience and the eye for detail, the payoff can be life-changing. So why do mint errors like the wide AM variety carry such high value? The answer lies in the rarity of the mistake itself. Mint errors are fascinating because they reflect a glitch in the coin-making process, and these glitches are often extremely rare. Some of the most famous coins in history, like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel and the 1943 copper penny, were born out of minting errors, and those coins are worth millions today because of how rare they are. Collectors prize these coins because they're not just pieces of currency, but anomalies. They're tangible pieces of history. So, is your 2000 penny worth $36 million? Well, probably not unless you've found one of the ultra-rare wide AM varieties. But if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one, it could be your ticket to a life-changing windfall. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone with a curiosity about rare coins, the 2000 penny in its fascinating mint era is a reminder that sometimes, the value of something isn't in its face value, it's in the story and rarity behind it. Who knows, that next penny you find might just be your ticket to becoming a millionaire. Keep searching, and as always, keep collecting. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more fascinating stories from the world of numismatics. Until next time, happy hunting! Next, have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this tiny, copper coin can't possibly be worth much? Well, think again. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of a 1997 US 1-cent coin that's not just your regular penny. It might be worth far more than you could ever imagine. Stick around as we uncover the history, the value, and the incredible rarity that makes this 1997 penny worth $161 million. Let's start with the basics. The US penny, also known as the 1-cent coin, has been around for a long time. First minted in 1793, it's one of the oldest coins still in circulation today. By 1997, the design on the penny was the familiar Abraham Lincoln portrait, a tribute to the 16th President of the United States, which had been in use since 1909. The reverse side of the coin features the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the nation's history. On the face of things, this coin seems pretty ordinary, right? It's worth 1 cent, 1/100th of a dollar. That's its face value. However, some of these pennies, especially those minted in 1997, could be worth a lot more. But how can that be possible? Well, let's dive into that mystery. You see, not all 1997 pennies are created equal. While most of the pennies minted in that year are still circulating today with just their standard face value, a few rare variants have emerged in the world of coin collecting. And no, we're not talking about minor scratches, discoloration, or common wear and tear. We're talking about something much more unusual, something that involves an error that could make one of these pennies worth millions. Imagine finding a penny that is missing its mint mark or has an overstrike from another coin. These are what we call minting errors. And it just so happens that a rare, unintentional error occurred in 1997, making some of those pennies not only rare but incredibly valuable. One of the most famous and sought-after minting errors from that era involves what's known as a double die variety. This happens when a coin is struck more than once by the same die, resulting in a misalignment that causes the image to appear doubled, particularly noticeable in the date or the lettering. For the 1997 penny, this means you might find coins where the year 1997 is printed twice, or the word liberty appears more than once. It's not something you would notice unless you're looking closely, but when you do, it's obvious. These double die pennies are incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. In fact, a 1997 double die penny has been known to fetch upwards of $161 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right. $161 million. That's not a typo. While most pennies are worth just 1 cent, this one could be worth an unimaginable fortune. So, how does a minting error like this even happen? Well, it starts with the US Mint's die, which is used to press the design onto the coin. If the die is improperly aligned or struck multiple times in a way that isn't quite right, you end up with an error like the double die variety. These errors are typically caught early, which is why they are so rare and valuable. The reality is, the US Mint produces billions of pennies each year, and the odds of finding a mistake like this are extremely low. Now you might be wondering, why is this particular penny worth such an astronomical amount of money? The answer lies in the rarity and demand. First, only a handful of these double die 1997 pennies were made, and even fewer are still in circulation. These coins are not just valuable to collectors because of their error, but because they represent a truly unique part of American coinage history. Rare coins like these often fetch millions at auction, as wealthy collectors and investors seek to own a piece of history. There's a small, but dedicated market for these types of errors, and the competition to own one of these coins drives up the price. Now that you know how valuable this penny can be, how do you spot one? The first thing to look for is the doubling of the date, or the inscription. If the year 1997 appears slightly off-center or doubled, you might have found something special. You'll also want to check for any unusual alignment, or extra markings in the other lettering, like Liberty, or In God We Trust. It can be tough to notice these flaws with the naked eye, so you'll want to use a magnifying glass or a loupe for the best results. As coin collectors, it's always exciting to think about what other hidden treasures might be out there. Maybe you've got a penny from 1997 sitting in your drawer, or perhaps you've seen one floating around at your local store. If so, it might be time to take a closer look. Who knows? You could have stumbled upon a rare treasure worth millions. So, next time you pick up a penny, don't just toss it aside. That little piece of metal could have a surprising story to tell, and who knows, it might just be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing coin discoveries. Until next time, happy hunting! Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, a coin that might just be hiding a massive secret. You've probably held one of these in your pocket at some point, the humble penny, or more specifically, the 2012 1-cent coin. But did you know that this simple penny could be worth up to $11 million? That's right, $11 million. Stick around to find out why. Now, before you start thinking I'm pulling your leg, let's break this down. Today, we're going to explore the value, history, and mind-blowing story behind the 2012 1-cent coin, a coin that could make you a millionaire. Let's start with a little bit of background on how pennies are made and what makes this particular penny so special. To understand why a 2012 1-cent coin could be worth millions, we need to take a quick look at the history of the U.S. penny. The penny was first introduced in 1793, and since then, it's undergone various changes in design, material, and value. For most of its history, it has been made from copper, though over the years, the U.S. Mint started using more affordable metals, like zinc and copper-plated steel, especially during times of economic strain. The 2012 penny is a part of the series minted at the Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark. While the penny has been a symbol of American currency for centuries, it's often taken for granted because of its low value. But some pennies have been known to hold far more than their face value due to errors, rare designs, or special circumstances. So, what makes the 2012 penny worth millions? Well, it's all about rarity and a specific flaw that's caught the attention of collectors. You see, while most of the 2012 pennies were produced with normal minting processes, a small batch of them was accidentally struck with an error, one that would end up making them incredibly valuable. We're talking about the famous double die error. Now, double dies are one of the most coveted types of coin errors. They occur when a coin is struck more than once, causing the image on the coin to appear doubled. In this case, the 2012 penny has a double die error that affects the Liberty lettering and the date. The effect is subtle, but it's visible upon close inspection. This mistake makes the coin extraordinarily rare. At first glance, you might not even notice the difference. But when you look closely at the Liberty and the 2012 on the coin, you'll see the doubling effect. This error means that only a very small number of these coins were actually made, which is what makes them so valuable. So, why are these double die 2012 pennies worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and collector demand. As with all rare coins, the value of a 2012 penny with a double die error skyrockets because it's one of a kind. When coins like this are discovered, they get sent to professional grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These services assign a grade to the coin based on its condition, and this greatly affects its value. A coin with a perfect grade, especially one that's in mint condition, can fetch an astronomical price. The 2012 penny with the double die error has been appraised at over $11 million, thanks to its extreme rarity. This is a coin that's not just about its metal content, but about its unique history and the story it tells. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare coins in your pocket change, you could be holding a small fortune. Now you might be wondering, how do you find one of these rare coins? Well, finding a 2012 double-die penny is no easy task. Most of these coins were minted and circulated normally. The ones with the double-die error were produced in such small numbers that they'd become almost like mythical treasures in the coin collecting world. Coin collectors who are in the know often search through rolls of coins from banks, hoping to find these rarities. Others scour coin shops and online auctions to buy coins that might have slipped through the cracks. The key to finding one of these rare pennies is knowing what to look for and having a trained eye. So, let's say you've found a 2012 penny with a double-die error. What should you do next? First and foremost, don't spend it. If you think you have one of these rare coins, the first step is to get it professionally graded. A grading service will verify the authenticity of the error and assign a value based on the coin's condition. Once your coin is graded, you can choose to hold onto it for your collection or sell it to the highest bidder. Keep in mind, coins with high grades and unique errors can fetch millions at auction, but the process of getting your coin appraised and graded might take some time. So, there you have it. The 2012 penny with a double-die error could be worth as much as $11 million, and it's a great example of how the world of coin collecting can be both exciting and profitable. If you're into coins, it might just be time to start looking through your pocket change a little more carefully. Have you ever found a rare coin? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing coin stories. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!